I wake up, stretch, put the kettle on, and pour a wholesome-looking heap into a bowl that sounds like it should get its own wellness podcast. There's a candle flickering on the counter, the radio muttering, and that sweet toasted scent that promises a good day. A splash of milk, a spoon, a crunch, and I'm on my way, smug in the knowledge I did breakfast right. Then 3 p.m. arrives like a bus you can hear before you see, and suddenly my eyelids weigh as much as wet towels. You know that slump where the screen blurs and the office printer starts to sound like a lullaby. The villain is sitting in a pretty jar on your kitchen shelf. The 3 p.m. wall we pretend is normal. The crash creeps in on the same timetable, whether you're at a desk or darting between school runs. We blame it on work, or the weather, or the email that arrived with "quick question" in the subject line. There's a sigh, a biscuit, maybe a coffee that tastes like a promise. We power through and tell ourselves we're just not afternoon people. We've all had that moment when you're staring at a sentence you've read 5 times and it refuses to stick. The brain fog, the soft growl of a headache, the sudden politeness to anyone who walks past your snacks. It feels random, like bad luck. It isn't. It started at breakfast. Meet the suspect, the feel-good crunch. Let's talk about granola, not because it's evil, but because it's clever. It wears a halo, honey-roasted, toasted oats, with nuts and seeds, all those earthy labels in wholesome fonts. You can practically hear the countryside when you pick up the bag in the supermarket aisle with the 2 bright lights and suspiciously cheerful birds on the packaging. Granola used to be a garnish, a sprinkle. Somewhere along the way, it became the whole show, a deep bowl with a handful of yogurt hiding underneath like a child's shy friend. The clusters are designed to be addictive, crisp and shiny with syrup, studded with raisins that have the sweetness of tiny secrets. That crunch is engineered to make you pour more, and more, and more. Why granola hits like cake before noon? Here's the simple version. Granola is oats toasted with sugar and oil. Even the natural ones lean on honey, maple, coconut sugar or date syrup. Add dried fruit and you've got concentrated sugar, the kind that leaks into your bloodstream wearing tap shoes. Your body does what it's meant to do, releases insulin to tidy things up, and your blood sugar tumbles. Hello, nap face. Portions don't help. A serving on the back of the packet is often 40 g, which looks like a child's cupped hands. Most of us pour twice that without blinking, because bowls have grown and mornings are busy. The yogurt that should bring balance gets buried under a landslide. That early burst of energy isn't magic, it's a match. It burns fast, then leaves you cold. What your blood sugar is doing while you type. Imagine the graph. Breakfast lands with a friendly whoosh, your energy surges, your to-do list looks conquerable. The curve rises too steeply, though, because there's not enough protein or fat to slow the ride. 2 hours later, the dip arrives. Your brain requests a meeting with something sweet and your stomach seconds it. The first yawn arrives just as the inbox pings. You think you need willpower, your hormones think you need rescue. Cortisol nudges, ghrelin sighs. You get the wobble, irritable, snacky, unfocused, that tiny shake in your hands the second the kettle clicks. You reach for a fix and the cycle starts again, a polite roller coaster with too many loops. But I buy the low sugar one, does that help? Labels are tricksy. Low sugar gets traded for honey-kissed, naturally sweetened, or with dates. The words change, the chemistry doesn't. Sugar by any other name still hits your blood the same. Toss in coconut oil for crunch and you've built a calorie bomb that looks like a health food and acts like dessert with better PR. And yes, there are better versions with more nuts and fewer syrups. They still ask you to measure, to weigh, to scoop a dainty amount. Let's be honest, no one really does this every day. We're late, we're hungry, we're distracted by a sock that has gone missing in the tumble dryer. The bag glugs and the bowl fills and the day is already running away from us. The swap that changed my afternoons. I didn't ditch breakfast. I changed the equation. I needed the crunch to be an afterthought, not the headline. The fix wasn't fancy or expensive or Instagram pretty. It was just a little more protein, a little more fiber, and a lot less sugar masquerading as a sunrise. Egg on whole grain toast with a handful of spinach and chili flakes on top. Greek yogurt so thick the spoon stands up, then a few raspberries and a sprinkle of granola for texture. Porridge cooked slowly with oat milk and salt, stirred with chia and pumpkin seeds, finished with a blob of peanut butter that melts like a small kindness. The change felt suspiciously grown up and embarrassingly effective. Quick breakfast builds that don't crash. Try a pot of Greek yogurt with a sliced pear and a tablespoon of mixed nuts, then a spoonful of granola for crunch, not bulk. Try scrambled eggs with cherry tomatoes crushed in the pan, served on rye, and a swipe of pesto if you've got a jar open. Try overnight oats made with chia, milk, a scoop of plain protein powder, and a few frozen berries that bleed their color as they thaw. Each of these gives you protein and fat alongside carbs, turning a spark into a slow burn. Protein, fiber and fat turn breakfast into a slow-release battery. Keep the crunch, change the script. You don't have to break up with granola. You just need to stop letting it run the morning. Use it as a garnish, not a foundation. 2 tablespoons over yogurt with seeds and a drizzle of plain kefir is a different story to a brimming bowl. The crunch is still there, but it's a cameo, not the lead. Add fruit that behaves well, berries, half an apple, rather than a handful of raisins that pack a tiny sugar punch. Add nuts you have to chew, because chewing slows you down and your body loves the pause. If you crave sweetness, slice a banana thinly so it feels like more and tastes the same. The spoon slows, the graph flattens, and the 3 p.m. version of you nods in quiet gratitude. The small test: try this for 3 days. Don't promise yourself a new life. Promise yourself 3 mornings. Swap your deep bowl of granola for one of those steadier plates and watch what happens to your afternoon. Notice the gap between breakfast and the first real stomach grumble. You might spot a gentle lift where there used to be a cliff. Keep an eye on the cues. The quality of your focus, the number of times your mouse drifts to the snack drawer, the mood dip around lunchtime. Jot it down on your phone if you like, just words, not numbers. If by day 3 your 3 p.m. feels less like treacle and more like a lane you can swim, you've cracked your code. The rest is just repeating a small, kind habit. What your body's been asking for all along. Here's the non-preachy bit. Your body wasn't being a diva, it was communicating. Granola alone is the equivalent of starting a long car journey with half a tank and a heavy foot. You'll get to the first lay-by fast and then you'll stall. With the right mix, you glide. You don't have to be perfect. Nobody wants mornings that feel like a laboratory. If your Tuesday is a blur and you eat a bowl of the sweet crunchy stuff because it's there and you're late, fine. Balance the next day. Sprinkle, don't shovel. Your energy is a conversation, not a punishment. Why we fell for the crunch in the first place. Granola is low effort and high ceremony. It sounds good, it photographs well, it makes mornings feel aspirational for the price of a bag. You can hear the clink against the bowl and it feels like self-care. And to be fair, oats and nuts and seeds are good things, it's just the syrupy swagger that turns the dial too far. There's also the sweetness creep. We train our mouths to expect dessert at dawn and then everything bland tastes like a punishment. Dial it back slowly and you'll notice strawberries taste like strawberries again. The first week feels odd, then your taste buds remember their manners. And suddenly you're not clock watching at 2:57 p.m. anymore. Office life, home life, same science. The slump doesn't care where you work. In an office, it arrives with the hum of the aircon and the soft click of someone else's keyboard. At home, it sneaks in as the washing machine beeps and the neighbor's dog starts another monologue. The cause sits in the bowl just the same. Take a walk at lunch if you can. Drink water with a pinch of salt if you're a cereal tea drinker who forgets the H2O. Keep a small bag of nuts on your desk so your first response to a wobble isn't a vending machine. Small changes, boring changes, the kind that build a day you actually like living in. The thing no one told us about, healthy. Health has been branded to within an inch of its life. We're taught to worship packaging and ignore portions. We're given buzzwords that stroke our ego and distract our logic. Marketing is louder than our bodies, at least until 3 p.m. when the body clears its throat and asks to be heard. So here's the whisper behind the shout. The killer isn't breakfast itself, it's the bowl of granola you think is saintly. Keep it. Just shrink it. Fold it into meals that have a backbone, not a sugar halo. You'll still get the ritual. You'll lose the crash. A final, Honest picture of the day you want. Imagine your afternoon with a steady hum instead of a seesaw. Emails that land and don't rattle you. A walk to the shops after work that feels like air, not obligation. Dinner that isn't a raid because you've been chasing energy since lunch. No hacks, no heroics. A bowl that looks 10% less photogenic and 90% more useful. A spoon that scrapes the bottom without panic. And a small, ordinary joy at 3 p.m. when you realize you're fine, not superhuman, not dragging, just fine. That's the quiet win hiding inside your breakfast jar.